and they came back a few days later with a draft of this new look for Jazzy, and it was just amazing. And now to see it in motion, the shorts, there's so many shorts that are going to be coming out. They're so beautiful and sweet. And yeah, so point being, I'm in love with the show. I definitely had a hand in it, and I'm really happy about that.
For sure. You know, like it would have, like there was sort of a point at which when we started working with Aiza where, once we realized that this was a partnership, that I actually became liberated as a songwriter.
The Desert Tiger Podcast.
All right, Ambush, and today we are joined by two very incredible, talented musicians who are bringing an amazing project to you. They are bringing you some knowledge, some good times. They are bringing you the world of music because feelings become songs, songs become stories, and music and friendship become oh so much more. And that is the goal. That is the story behind the new CBC Gem series, Jeremy and Jazzy, and we are joined by Jeremy Fisher, as well as Aiza. I cannot pronounce Aiza's last name. So either way, we are joined by both of these incredible, talented individuals. Jeremy and Jazzy here today. How's it going?
Going well, going well. My name is pronounced Ntibarikure, and it's a Burundian origin. And, it sounds good when you say it once you start practicing it. So just for anybody listening, it's pronounced Ntibarikure.
Hey, start practicing now, and when you meet her in person, you can wow her with just how good you can say it.
There you go.
Hey, and of course, Jeremy, how's it going on your end of things?
I'm doing good, and I have spent my time practicing Ntibarikure
yes.
as well. And it does feel good to say those multi-syllable last name. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm good. I'm good, man. Yeah, I'm in the same place where Aiza and I always meet, which is
Zoom.
Over Zoom in my studio, and she in hers. So yeah. So welcome to our space.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you for inviting me in. I mean, into the creation station, I believe you guys call it.
Yeah.
Yes.
And of course, for those who have seen, the Creation Station is the location in Jeremy and Jazzy where all of the magic goes down. And of course, to get things kicked off, I want to know exactly how did this magic come together? When did Jeremy and Jazzy actually start to take form?
Well, that's a good question. And it is something that started brewing about 4 years ago, when I put out my first children's album under the name Jeremy Fisher Jr., which the album was called Highway to Spell. And I did it as a little side project when I had my first daughter, who's now 6. And I wrote these little songs when I took some parental leave, hanging out with her. And they just kind of came out of our fun conversations, exploring the world. And I was going to just put this out and then go back on to my day job of touring and making music mostly for grownups. And it sort of took over my life slowly. I started playing in pubs in afternoons and small theaters, and teachers started inviting me into schools. And I really enjoyed the educational side of it. So I met Virginia Thompson from Verite Films at the Animation Festival here in Ottawa, and we decided to make a show, and we just started playing with the clay and taking the songs and making stories out of them and trying to figure out what would work and what didn't work. And we sort of developed it, decided to make an animated show. And fast forward a couple of years, we were realizing that just with me as a TV show, just me singing my songs didn't give the story anywhere to go, because it's like just me talking to myself, And so we were looking for another musician to collaborate with. And my manager, Parkside Mike Renault had met Aiza at a Slate event. And he said, I just saw this incredible musician. She's an actor. She does everything. Do you want to see if she might be the right person? And I was already feeling a bit like a fish out of water because I don't come from an acting background or a TV background at all. And I think we sent, Aiza can correct me if I'm wrong, we had these like little raps that were like transitions, and we sent her that and like a couple little lines. And we didn't even have a character fully formed. And she's like, yeah, I can do this. And did the audition herself at her place and like sent off the files. And they were just like, there's so much life and so much fun and like youthful energy in them. I went back to the stuff we've been working on, redid all my stuff with like more of a smile in my voice and just more. So
What?
Yeah, no, it's true.
That.
It's true. I know. I realized as I was telling this, you don't know this part of the story. And so what started as sort of like, a character that we had this character that was like she was originally called Jazz Cat. So she was like a little cartoon cat. Then we called her Jazzy. We thought that was like a cuter name for her. And as we started working with Aiza, she brought this incredible voice to the project. It became obvious to everybody that they needed to be like, not like Jazzy didn't need to be like a sidekick. Jeremy and Jazzy needed to be like partners, like
a dynamic duo.
A dynamic duo, exactly. Like, Simon and Garfunkel, Ian and Sylvia, whatever you want to, Ike and Tina, like it needed to be a partnership. And that's the short story, believe it or not, I think. And that Aiza could tell you from her point of view, if I'm accurate or what happened on her end. But what was it like?
Everything you shared. I mean, I'm learning stuff too. It's interesting to know how it was from your end. I definitely, I had heard Parkside reached out, and I remember getting this request to send in a voice audition. And, I'm an actor. I've done a lot of TV, film. I produce my own music videos. I do, a lot of stuff, but animation work, voice work was always something I wanted to get into, but that I just never got a chance to do. And this was right in April 2020, like April or May in the spring of 2020, where I had no idea what was going on in life, as most of us didn't either. And this beautiful project that was going to be all about music and super dynamic and fun and uplifting just basically fell on my lap. And I'm just so grateful that it's worked out the way that it did, because I think, especially in 2020, as we worked on these songs, Jeremy is an incredible songwriter. And that was another thing. The music itself was so compelling and beautiful and got me so excited. And so I think it just kept me in a really positive, hopeful space during a time where we were really like going through it as a society. I think we're still going through it, but back then was really mayhem, And so diving into the role of Jazzy and thinking about her hair, how we wanted her hair to be, and then going into studio sessions, bringing in my partner, Christopher, to record the songs at our home studio. And just a fun fact, Jeremy and I have never met in person.
Really?
Are we real?
Are we real? Are these just holograms?
We're AI avatars.
Turns out Toonbug was the only real one all along.
So point being, this is such a testament to, first of all, how we can remain connected through technology, how music can bring us together. And this has just been a beautiful opportunity to dive into another medium of expression. And I love that every song tells a beautiful story. And I don't know, it just makes me feel all giddy. I think the show's really beautiful, and I'm really happy to be a part of it.
Mm-hmm. No, I mean, I was checking out some of the show here earlier today. I was checking out the live stream you guys did earlier this week, and you can tell that you guys are having just a ton of fun. just presenting these songs where you mentioned it's like it's knowledge, it's education, but at the same time, you guys are having a blast while doing it. And one thing that I sort of picked up on you sort of saying there, Aiza, is that you mentioned sort of deciding on like the hair and everything. And originally, like Jazzy was a cat, as Jeremy was saying. So did you have like quite a bit of a hand in like designing this character then?
It's great. I mean, everyone at Verité Films, Jeremy, everybody, they've been so like inviting, and I was brought on as a consultant, producing consultant for the character when we realized that, you know, at first I think the show was Jeremy Fisher and Friends, and then we realized, hold on, Jazzy's poppin'. It needs to be Jeremy and Jazzy, you know? And so when that switched to, it got really exciting because then I got to, you know, give a bit of my spin on it too. And it was nice that they reached out and were like, okay, what would you want her hairstyle to be, you know? And I thought of the twists, and they came back a few days later with a draft of this new look for Jazzy, and it was just amazing. And now to see it in motion, the shorts, there's so many shorts that are going to be coming out. They're so beautiful and sweet. And yeah, so point being, I'm in love with the show. I definitely had a hand in it, and I'm really happy about that.
For sure. You know, like it would have, like there was sort of a point at which when we started working with Aiza where, you know, once we realized that this was a partnership, that I actually became liberated as a songwriter from being limited to sort of what, like a lot of the songs at the very beginning were very, very folky, sort of like classic, you know, Raffi style circle time kids songs. And then with the addition of Jazzy and what Aiza brought to her voice and her development as a character, all of a sudden I was like, wait a second, I don't have to be limited to this. Like we can do anything because, you know, that's what the show is about. It's about exploring and music education. And all of a sudden to go from, you know, sort of like a limited sound of what I had originally imagined Jeremy Fisher Jr. was to this like partnership situation. Like I could write songs that were like, there are songs that are mainly just Jazzy features and Jeremy's singing the background vocals. And there's songs that just like wouldn't work as a Jeremy Fisher song, you know, like we have one of my favorite songs is like a kind of an early 80s disco throwback called Dancing on a Feeling. It's like the songs I used to hear at the roller rink when I was a kid in the early 80s. And it's like the melody on the song is like too big of a range, but between the two of us trading off the lines and singing in harmony together, like we're able to make something like that happen. So it's you're right. It is really fun and it's been really playful. All these sessions have been really joyful. There's been amazing. And Aiza mentioned her partner, Christopher, who's been, I mean, what luck, right? That she was able to do all this at home. Like without Christopher, it would have been infinitely more complicated. We did a couple of sessions that we coordinated, but just being able to fit it into the schedule and do it at home, have another set of ears that are amazing and musical, help the project happen. Like it's just, there's been all these things that have just lined up so perfectly that we couldn't have planned for.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I mean, even just like including other things, because like through watching the live stream there, you see that you guys also were able to include like children's choirs and otherwise inside of this project too. So it's not just your two voices, like you're actually including the voices of like the people that you're trying to reach, which I think is amazing.
Same here. I fell in love. You know, when we recorded the music, I'm just hearing my part or Jeremy, but then to get the final product with all the kids backing us up, it really brought it to a whole other level for sure. And I feel like it's going to make children want to sing along even more, you know?
Aiza, do you find I've had moments where I'm like, man, I need to get kids singing like on my adult songs too. Like there's something so fun. Like, you know, that Sia song, Cheap Thrills, that has the kids singing it. Like, I don't know. There's something about like kids just singing like with like in a room together, just with no self-consciousness at all that brings
Right.
excitement to the tracks. Yeah.
Absolutely, for sure. I was like, I need a choir on one of my tracks. Like, I don't know, what's the name of the group again? Like, I
I'll
just
send you some I'll send you some samples you can use.
perfect.
Just kids yelling.
Yes.
And one thing that I like there is you say the excitement of the kids there. And that's one thing that you can definitely tell is like just how excited they are also to be involved inside of this project.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
You can feel the energy. You can feel it for sure. And you can feel it through all 26 tracks here. Of course, it came to us in an album. I believe the album being called Say Hello, as well as 26 musical shorts, all available on CBC Gem. On CBC Kids at like 8:05 in the morning. So like for yourselves, I mean, now that the project's actually out, you mentioned being able to help to craft it and otherwise, but now that it's actually out into the world, what's the feeling to see yourself on, morning kids TV?
Well, I haven't actually seen it on TV yet because usually I am trying to get my own kids out the door at that time. But it does every once in a while. I like my kids watch Jeremy and Jazzy, on the iPad or whatever, and it's like when I catch it out the corner of my eye, that's when it dawns on me. I hear my voice, and then it's coming from this cartoon that like I'm a cartoon, and that's really cool. It's I don't think there's anything. Like, do you find, Aiza, that like really it's never lost on you how cool it is to hear your voice coming from this beautiful little illustration that like somebody else did and made come to life, and you're a part of it.
Yeah.
But
no, it's amazing.
Yeah,
It's really
fun.
amazing. It's fun. I feel like for me, it's not on TV that I've watched it just like Jeremy, but I have friends with kids, and I'm just so happy to be getting feedback from them, letting me know like, oh, we watched, we listened to the album now. It's nice because that's what I love. The music is not cheesy. It could easily go there for, music for young kids. And we love cheese. Like, I love cheese, but the music is so well written, and I feel like even adults are vibing to it. Like, for me, one of my favorite songs is Over the Moon, and it's such a sweet lullaby-ish kind of song. And it's funny, I'm the one singing on it, but I can't get enough of it, basically. Like I will play it on repeat. And if I'm having a day where I'm feeling a little crummy, I could play that and be like, oh, this is super sweet. And so it's just a gift that keeps on giving, And so it's only the beginning. It's just been released. There's so much more to come. And that makes it all really exciting. I think that it's being really well received.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, for sure. And one thing that I like that you mentioned there is just the songwriting that went into this, and just how like it's accessible, like, because for many parents, I'm sure there's a ton of songs out there that their kids want to listen to, that they're like, really, again? And
right.
It's like, I'm not a parent myself, but as an uncle, like, I hear some of these things and I'm like around it, and like listening to this music this morning, like as a 30-year-old man, it's just like, what, like, these songs are bops, yo.
They are. Like, there's Get Funky. Like, I'm there for it. Another thing that I love about the process was in Say Hello, we go through so many different ways to say hello. And I was so happy when Jeremy and Virginia were like, is there a greeting in Kirundi? Kirundi is the language that's spoken in Burundi, where I'm from. And they're like, is there a greeting that we can add to the song? And I said, yes, amahoro. That's how we say hello. That's how we say, good day. I hope you're well. And I actually had a Burundian friend write to me and say, hey, we were listening to the album this morning with the kids, and we were so surprised to hear amahoro in the song. And it made us so excited and happy and proud, And it's the little things like that just makes it that much more special.
Well, representation is important. It matters, right?
It's everything.
Yeah, I love that. I love that that's a little Easter egg that ties it to Aiza as well. You know, like those who know will know.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's been Virginia, who is the executive producer that runs the production company. She's very thoughtful in that way, and she's been really amazing to collaborate with on this project, because we together as a team, we really exhaust all possibilities, you know, like that addition. That was like, I think that was a pickup, right? Like we'd already done the session, and I think we might've done that song like a couple more times. And it's like, it's never done until it's done, until we've tried every idea. And, you know, I'm so happy to hear you say that you find the song, the music accessible to adults. And, you know, that's where this came from for me. Like the summer I started writing kids songs was the summer my daughter was 2 and she wanted to listen to Jingle Bells over and over and over again in July. And it was like, that's all she ever wanted. There we were going to the grocery store, like for, you know, 20 minutes there, 20 minutes back, listening to Jingle Bells on repeat. And we've, you know, those of us that are parents and uncles and aunts and grandparents, like we've all been there. And I made a decision. I said, if I'm going to do this, it's going to be songs that, like, if I've got to listen to them 1,000 times, I'm going to enjoy them. I'm going to feel like if they're on when I drop the kids off at school, daycare or whatever, like maybe I'd want to leave it on to hear it to the end of the song. And Aiza and I, like, I think I'm sure we can announce this might be a scoop for you, but we're doing it all over again in French. And we just did a session the other day, and we've taken great care, you know, to make sure that the way we enunciate and the way that we sing is just the way you would sing to anybody. It's not, we don't talk down to the kids, and we don't put a huge over affectation on it. And so now we're revisiting that. And Aiza's been really instrumental because she's a native French speaker, in making sure like that the tone is consistent, you know, in French as it has been in English. And it's all about voice, and it's all about how you know, deliver. You've got to respect your audience. And we've definitely, you know, done all we can to make sure that we do respect our audience in that way.
Hey, that's good. It's good to hear that. Like we said earlier, it's about representation in some ways. And I mean, even for Aiza, as somebody who also speaks French, that's just another way that you continue to progress, continue to maybe be able to share this with your friends' kids otherwise, right?
Absolutely. And I just feel like I hit the jackpot, you know, right out the gate. This is my first animation role, and now I'm doing, you know, the French version too. And the fact that I can do it, I'm like, I think it's boosting my confidence too. I'm like, hey, we're out here doing the thing and doing it well.
Yeah. Doing it well, building that resume. Maybe voice acting is the next step for Aiza, right?
Clearly.
Clearly. You're rocking it. I mean, from what I saw, you're doing a great job. So
Thank you.
So, of course, Jeremy, you mentioned that sometimes you'll catch your own kids watching the show themselves. So I need to ask, you both mentioned some of your own favorite tracks. Do your kids have a favorite track from Say Hello?
Yep. My 2-year-old, I would say her favorite is a toss-up between, there's a song called No Better Fly Than a Butterfly, and the funky freeze dance, which is like a, you know, classic freeze dance with the pauses in it. And my 6-year-old, she is, and they both love Over the Moon. They both, so this is another thing, you know, speaking of representation, like part of the development of it, and part of what made us realize when Aiza came on board to create this Jeremy Jazzy partnership is, my girls, as soon as there was a female character, they identified with her and her voice so much. I mean, my 6-year-old's funny. I tell her stories sometimes before she's going to bed about when I was growing up. She wants to hear about when I was growing up. She only wants to hear stories about me and my older sister and my mom, and my dad cannot be in the stories. And I'm always like, well, she'll stop me. She'll be like, Grandpa Rick in this story? I'll be like, no, he's not. Why, by the way? And she's like, I just prefer girls. And I was like, but I'm not a girl. She's like, yeah, but you're my dad, so you can be in the story. But she just wants to basically hear about and that's like, we, especially when we're young, right? And we're developing, like, it's so important for them to, like, they see themselves in Jazzy in a way that they don't see themselves in Jeremy, right?
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, it's true. And so that's been amazing for me to have these, like, my own daughters as sort of like a focus group for everything that we do, because you can tell right away. I mean, they don't mince words, and they won't lie to you to preserve your feelings,
Nice.
So yeah, it's been really cool to see how they react to everything and what ends up being their favorite stuff. But yeah, the Over the Moon is like, that one has really reacted with them, which is like, that's one of those songs that I'm talking about, that's a Jazzy feature, right? The Jeremy character just sings like a few little backgrounds in the bridge, and it's just it's a song that I knew the moment I had it, I knew that it had to be a Jazzy feature.
I love that. Do you find that the songs, for me, it's part of a soundtrack of my life now. I wake up in the morning, I don't go brush my teeth. I'm like, brush your teeth. You gotta, like, I just, every song has a moment throughout the week. How about you? Is that a thing?
Oh yeah, totally. Middle of the night too. Yeah. I mean,
okay.
Yeah.
So I'm not alone. Good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Jeremy's waking up in the middle of the night and his wife's sitting there just like, why are you singing these songs?
Basically, yeah, because she's a very light sleeper. So, like, even if when my eyelids open, she can hear that sound, and it wakes her up, and then she gets mad at me for waking her up.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I have had so much fun chatting Jeremy and Jazzy here today with both of you. I have one last question for you, and that is this. How has this project helped each of you to grow as a person, or what has it taught you about yourselves?
Like I was saying earlier, I definitely think as a performer, as an actor, this has definitely boosted my confidence. I think the level of trust that the team has entrusted in me has been really, it's been a beautiful playground for me to grow and try things in a space that feels safe and uplifting, and to know that my opinion matters. It's given me the sense of, okay, this is how it can be moving forward, and not just as I'm working on my own projects where I have agency over, who I hire and all of that, but when I'm working with other production companies or even as an actor on sets, I know that my opinion matters and that I can take up more space confidently, comfortably, and know that it's possible for me to be heard, and that's a big one, because sometimes as an actor, you show up on set and you're there to facilitate the vision of somebody else. And obviously that it's fun, it's exciting, but I just didn't know that I could have as much agency over a character that I was playing, and I feel like this show has done that for me. And then just in general, I think it's brought so much joy and lightness to my life, and I don't know, it's opened something up for me in terms of children's music even. You know, I didn't know that this was something that could make me feel so happy every day. You know, I'm pursuing my career as a solo artist, and obviously my music as just Aiza is very different. However, the through line of wanting to spread love, connect, inspire is the same, you know? And so it was just a way for me to discover a new facet of myself as an artist. And for that, I'm really grateful, and I'm excited to see what more comes up to the surface, you know?
I like that. Powerful. Powerful.
Yeah.
Jeremy, how about yourself?
Well, yeah, it's sort of the other side of that coin, you know, which is that I've been a solo act for, you know, over 20 years ago. I put out my first record, and I've done a lot on my own, and I spent a lot of time siloed away, making records and writing songs over the years, and this project has really taught me the value of having a team of people that bring different that have strengths that I don't have, and it given me and just seeing it go from where it began to where it is now and the finished product, and feeling like I have, by letting go of and trusting in people, I've gotten to be a part of something that's so much bigger and so much better and bolder and more beautiful than something I could have made siloed away on my own. It's really made me rethink about how I do everything, you know, and I often find myself asking the question, like, do I need help with this? Who do I, you know, whatever I'm doing, like, who should I ask? How do I ask for help? Because, you know, it's 20 years later, I've learned this lesson that, like, there are so many beautiful people with beautiful talents in this world that, you know, the fun of doing it, the joy of doing it is in that collaboration, you know? And so it's funny. I started this project to teach the world about collaboration and friendship and music creation. And I've actually learned that lesson myself, you know? And so, yeah, it's a new chapter for me, and it's a new way of working. And Aiza's, I just said this to her and Christopher the other day, that I think certainly they are the people I've collaborated with the most now in my whole career. And we haven't even known each other for, you know, 3 years now.
And we haven't even met, Jeremy.
We haven't even met in the same room. But we're going to change that. We're working on something.
Gotta change that.
We have to set that up. This is ridiculous now.
Yeah.
But I hear you. I love that. And I think that's what music does, right? You write these songs, and, you know, I can write a song about coming into my power and sing those lyrics, but then realize as I'm moving through life that I'm actually coming into my power as I'm, you know, music will pull you in the direction of the lyrics, the melody. It's like, it's such a deep process. You know, I love what you said. I really relate to that.
Hey, both very, very insightful answers. And like Jeremy mentioned, sort of two sides of the same coin there, where you can be powerful, you can step into your power, you can take up space, absolutely. But at the same time, it's also good to, you know, open yourself up, take a little bit of help, you know, gain some friends along the way, and, you know, create some memories with those friends. Hey, absolutely. And I thank you for taking some time to create some memories here today, to share the story behind Jeremy and Jazzy with us on the DTP, my friends.
Thank you for having us. This has been lovely.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure. Thank you.
The Desert Tiger Podcast.